All right, it's a Thursday night and time for our Las Vegas Triathlon Club member spotlight. I'm John Mercer, president of Las Vegas Triathlon Club, and I've got co-host Bob Gamble. Hey, Bob, how's it going?
It's going fine. Thank you, John.
Good. Well, it's a wonderful Thursday night. I love this fall for training, and I'm really going to enjoy tonight's member spotlight with Manor Puyawan. And what I love about Manor, and everybody knows Manor, although they don't know they know him, is because
But they know to see him.
he has the singular best finish line photos. I don't know how you time it, but you do an excellent job. And I've seen multiple races where you've done that, and so you have a great finish line photo. So thank you for joining us. But before we get going, I'm going to turn it over to Bob for the official spotlight introduction.
And once again, we have Manor Puyawan and with us tonight. And like John said, it's just thinking about Manor puts a smile on my face, because when he crosses the finish line, he's 3 foot off the ground and he's in a star pose, and he's jumping. So it's like you can't miss him. So anybody who has not seen Manor cross the finish line, you got to get ready for whenever he comes across. So Manor has been with the club since 2019. Recent. He's been in Vegas since 2017. He had his start as a runner in 2015. He started running then. I like some of the stories about Manor, and we're going to ask him about some of these. Manor moved to Vegas in 2017, bought a new bike. You tell him, and this is fun. You used clips for the very first time,
Yeah.
and your new bike, new clips. You did the Red Rock Scenic Loop by yourself, and it's like, why? So you picked up one of the hardest courses in all of Vegas to try out your new bike, especially going up there. So we'll be asking you about that too. But Manor has done races. From your first race was Rage, is that correct?
That's
in 2000 in 2019, and then you didn't waste any time. You did Boulder 70.3, and you can see the plaque in the background over here. From the Boulder 70.3. So Manor hasn't been doing triathlons for a long time, but he's got a lot of experience here. So we are looking forward to talking to Manor and about his training and what he's got coming up. So just to get started, Manor, what on earth made you want to do the Red Rock Loop for your first bike ride?
That's hey. Good evening, everyone, and John and Bob. Thank you for having me tonight.
Great to have you.
So by the way, I must commend. Thank you for doing this. This is quite a, something that I really appreciate you guys are doing for the club, and it's really inspiring that you're having this conversation with members and getting to know the different members, right? So going back to the question. So when I moved into Vegas in 2017, I don't know anyone, right? And what I did was do some research and bought an aluminum bike, like a cheap bike, like $500. And I just said I want to try biking, and looking at Google in the maps, and I said there's some recommendation about the Red Rock. And so I've looked at the those posts and say, oh, you can start at Desert Foothills. There's a lot of bikers there, and I started biking, and then that was my first time to really ride a bike. But again, before that ride at Red Rock, I started practicing the cleats. And I remember this vividly because I rented an apartment in Chinatown, and the apartment has it's not long, but it's a decent wall on the side. And I started watching videos how to cleats and uncleats, and just riding my new bike, and on that narrow corridor. And I said, oh, I got, and there's a bunch of falls that I had. And I got a hang of it and said, oh, I'm ready to go. And then I braved it. I went down to Desert Foothills, started there, and then looking at the maps, and then the first thing that I did was, enter into the loop.
Hmm.
And I didn't know you have to pay. So I paid.
Oh, yeah.
And then I started biking, 200 yards from the entrance. You can feel the elevation gain
It's like,
already.
hey, it's a hill.
It's a hill, yeah. And I was trying to, fight it, and my legs are burning already. And so, but there's one spot there that I rested because there's a parking lot there, if I
Hmm.
remember
Hmm.
correctly. And then I started biking again, and then there's big hill, and I said, I'm done. I'm not going back. And then
I'm turning around.
I started going back, and some guys are saying you can't do that.
You can't turn
There's
around.
some bikers out there, and so I braved it, and I endured it. I think there's one or two times that I got off the bike and just walk my bike up.
And
And it was a, what did I get myself into?
That's right. That's right. So, after that, I said, I need to do more research.
well, and for people who don't know, I think most of our watchers will be local, but that Red Rock Loop is notorious for one of the hardest climbs, and so that is amazing to do that on your
On your
first
very
outing.
first, yeah, your first ride out.
So
Yeah.
it's a
You go
fun.
from, I think, you, how many, it's like 1,800 feet in 5 miles.
Mhm.
It's a decent climb, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's hear your story about getting involved in triathlon. I know
Yeah.
you came from you were in New York City, but where how did you get involved in triathlon?
Well, so when I was in New York, I joined this club, a triathlon club, and that's a mix of runners and triathletes there in New York, because my background's running. Started running, and I've always wanted to join triathlon races, but my
Hmm.
biggest thing is that I don't know how to swim. I mean, I can float, but I can't do freestyle or move, right?
Yeah.
So I've been in pools, and but nothing that I've done before that that will allow me to complete a triathlon. So I said to myself, when I get a chance to you know have some time and learn how to really swim,
Oh,
um, I'm
smart.
gonna, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. So late 2000 and 2018, my friends are telling me, you better try it. And and I said to myself, I need to learn to swim first.
Mm-hmm.
The running part I know already. The biking part I kind of know, but the swimming part, I can't do it. And so I got some referrals from friends from my bike club here in Las Vegas, and they said, "Oh, there's this coach, right? She's really good," and they introduced me to Devney
Oh,
McCarthy.
Ah,
great. Yeah.
great.
Yeah. So
Yeah, you
Dev,
got hooked up with the right person there.
that's right. So Dev really did a pretty good job training me, and I did the lessons with the group, and then I did individual lessons with her. So
Hmm.
made
Yeah.
a lot of progress.
Mhm.
Dev's a really great coach, and so I
Well,
got to hang. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, I was gonna say that's a great story to tell, is that you knew you needed to get better at swimming and you went out and got some advice on how to do that. That's wonderful. So you had this idea that you would do a triathlon at that point. Is that where
Or
Yes.
did your Filipino cycling buddies get you into this?
No, not really. Not really. Most of them were focused on biking, but December that year, my friend said, you gotta sign up for a race,
Mhm.
because if you sign up for a race, that gets you committed, and you have
Yeah,
to do it. And
yeah.
so December, yeah, I think if I remember it correctly, it's December 2018. I signed up for Boulder 70.3, and I said,
Oh, wow.
and I got this, I got this roadmap ahead of me in my mind that, you know, I have to do a shorter distance. I have to do the next best thing, and, you know, whatever. And then do, you know, the finale will be the half in August.
But
So
were you able to sleep well after knowing that you're really not ready for a 70.3 and you signed up anyway? Wasn't that kind of stressful?
it's kind of stressful in a sense, but it's also exciting for me.
Yeah.
You know,
Good.
I always like the challenge, to challenge myself. But I think that's two things: the excitement and the motivation. You
Hmm.
know, and if you're, and I guess for me, if there's a goal that I wanna hit, you know, and there's no backing out, I have to
Yeah.
do the prep work. So yeah, I committed myself, trained with Devaney, I think 2 3 months of swimming, got really comfortable with the water.
Hmm.
Devaney's probably, if she's watching right now, she's probably gonna gonna remember me, because you know, I always drink a lot of water in the pool.
Yeah.
And you know, halfway the 50 yards, I'm stopping, and I'm holding on the, you know, the side because
Wow.
I'm like,
You've come a long way.
Yeah, you stole the words right out of my mouth, Bob. You've come a long way, and I love this
A
big
short
goal
short
right
amount of
from the
time.
beginning, where you're shooting for this 70.3, which is really ambitious. But that seems to go along with with what you're doing here. You know, your first ride out here in Vegas with Clips is Red Rock. So I see this in you that you're taking these big jumps. So how did you progress in your training? And it sounds like you did Rage as your as a race to lead
Yeah, I
in.
want to hear about that race.
yeah. So if and if I recall it correctly, when I joined the club, there's this, you know, series of club races,
Yep.
and I made sure that, you know, I joined them small bits. I know I remember the first swim that I had in the lake. It's a short distance, it's a sprint distance, and I didn't finish
Mm.
our club race, if I remember it correctly. And by the way, you know, after that, and I'm just bringing up back that swim thing, because I'm really terrified with the water.
Mm.
You know, the pool is one thing to overcome,
Yeah,
but the open water is another thing.
that's right.
And then I I I guess I trust people to teach me, and
Mhm.
I you know, engage with Nancy. You know,
Hmm.
she's really good. She's really good open water
Yep.
coach, and she really taught me a lot. And even the last race I had, I you know, I consulted with her, asked
Hmm.
for her help. Um, and then, you know, I got comfortable with the water. The problem I had is that I hate the wetsuit.
Hmm.
I I feel like you know, I couldn't breathe, and I
Yep.
I went through the exact same things. You're not alone. A lot of people have that, and a lot of people are in a wetsuit that's too small for them too.
Hmm.
That's
So
right. That's right.
Hmm.
So yeah, so progress from that sprint, and then, you know, I did a bunch of sprints, I think, here in Utah. I tried to make sure that I you know, I get myself involved in those short races, and get, you know, get comfortable with it, because
Hmm.
that's what I did in back in New York when I was starting running. Just, you know, run
short
from
races.
one post to a lamp post to another, and then, you know, got
Now,
long.
there's something really important that you have said and did that I want to make sure everybody gets, and that's the fact that you went out and you did a club race. That's the reason we have those club races, so you can try things. You can, get your feet wet, literally, and find out where your strengths and weaknesses are. And you obviously did incredibly well to go from having the anxiety in your first race to finish in Boulder 70.3. And that's a mile, 1.2 mile swim. So it's like, and you did that in a very short period of time. So it's really important that other people hear the fact that 90% of us go through that.
Hmm.
You get anxious, you work through it, you just, get some help, you ask questions and stick with it. I really applaud you for sticking with it and
Yeah.
going from rage or a short race where you didn't you weren't comfortable in the water, so now you're doing 70.3s. So that's big ups to you there, Manor.
Mhm.
Thank you. Yeah, and the experience, and as you said, Bob, I really appreciate what the club is doing for the members in those small races, and it's like preparation to a bigger race and
Isn't it?
much,
Mm.
you know. And
So what did
I would recommend to all the members, or especially the new ones, to take advantage of that, because nothing can prepare you on the actual, race 70.3 or a full Ironman without really experiencing it on shorter distance like
Yeah.
this. It's really simulating what's the actual, although we are doing actual races, but you know, it's
and you don't even know what to ask for or ask about. You don't even know what questions to ask until you get in the water and you start doing it and you get on the bike for the first time. So that's really important. I'm glad you brought that up, for people to hear.
I want to hear about your rage experience because you're doing all this prep. You're getting advice from some of the top people in the area, Nancy and Devaney, and so you get to rage. You're towing the start line. What was going through your mind before your wave went off?
so. Oops, I'm sorry. So I've been in start lines in the past, and it's there's always that rush, that rush, and I think it helps that I have that background racing or running before, because you wanted to make sure that you don't get too excited, and yeah, you don't speed up, or you don't.
Yeah, the adrenaline's coming, it's
That's
there, and
right.
you gotta rein it back in a little bit.
And I always and I can't help myself. I always get excited, and rage
Bingo.
was one of those races that, I got so excited. I watched all those triathlon videos, and everyone's like running and then like dolphin diving and things like that, and I said, oh, I'm gonna do that,
Yeah,
right? And I tried it, and 20 yards from the shore, I kind of start panicking.
yeah.
And that was also one of the races that helped me understand that you can't rush things, especially in the
Mm.
start line. And that was, and I must say this, and I'm open. I was the one waving and saying, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And then there's the kayak, and they just helped me out, and
Mhm.
said, just relax, um rest for now, get comfortable. And then after a while, I got, after her, I forgot her name. She helped me a lot. She talked to me and made me more comfortable in the water. And then after that, I kind of start swimming, and slowly and surely, and then I finished the swim part, right? uh
Enraged.
in
Yeah.
rage, yes. And then the bike thing. The thing about the actual thing, compared to, all the videos that you can see in the YouTube, it's a lot different, right? It's a lot different. I actually did the whole thing where you put your, like, rubber bands on your shoes and things like that, because it's kind of
That's
scary.
what you saw on the videos.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
And I was doing that, and my shoes are falling out from the
Mm.
thing, and like, I said, I'm not gonna do this again. I
Yeah.
need
Good.
to do this correctly.
Yeah.
And so I took it out from my shoes. I took it out from the pedal, and then wore it, and then just
Sure.
ran to the starting line. Um,
You can shave a half a second off later. The first
that's
the
right.
first thing you want to do is get your feet in the shoes.
And one thing I remember there, Bob, I think, and I you were one of those guys that really, you have welcoming thing to members. I say hi to you, and I think that was the first time I met you on that race. So I did the whole bike thing, went back, and then unmount, and then started running. I didn't realize that it's gonna be part of the race gonna be on the rock,
Rage is that's in the dirt.
yeah, and the dirt part. So um and I hate, so and I say I'm avoiding those kind of things because I'm prone to twisting my ankles.
Hmm.
So I always do road running. But yeah, doing that, and it's kind of fun. I said I really liked it. And I said I'm gonna go back.
What was it like when you started running the first time you ran off of the bike?
Um, so I did some brick work.
Oh, okay, good.
So I kind of know what to expect, but with that length of a bike for the first time, it's different because my quads are really are really tight, and like I feel like I'm not able to move my legs. So
Do you mean you actually pushed it pretty hard on the bike?
yeah, and I was back then. I was well, I bought my bike back then, so I actually committed myself to the sport already.
Oh.
So
Oh, I love it. So, all right. So, yeah, and running on that rocky path, you're right. On one hand, it's treacherous. On the other hand, it's sort of fun because it's not on the road, but you do really need to pay attention. But you come into that finish line. What was that like?
so that was really, you know the feeling of accomplishment, and the feeling of self-fulfillment is there. And I said there's that what do you call that feeling that you're excited, you're
Yeah.
happy, or
Hmm.
it's a whole new level of excitement for me.
Yeah. That's wonderful. And what I really like about this story that you're telling is just the humility that you have in terms of where you were with the swim, and you're being very honest with that, and even even trying to get through transition and trying something different. And that's really neat to take a step back and think about what you need to do next. But now I'm wondering, when you after you've finished, and having that proud feeling at the end is wonderful. But now that you've finished, you know that you have 70.3 Boulder on the radar. So what, after you finished, what did you take a step back and say, okay, here's what I need to do to get ready for a half Ironman?
So because Boulder is kind of high altitude,
Mhm.
and that part of when I started joining club races, I met Dax. And they have this clinic there, this shop in somewhere in
Summerlin.
Summerlin area. And I said to him that I'm excited to do this Boulder thing. And he said to me that you need to be careful because the altitude is
Mhm.
different, and you need to
Mhm.
make sure that um you adapt to that because it's the air is thinner, right? And I said, how can you help me? And he said, just go to my shop. I'll give you a free assessment of your cardio. And he said that they have this machine there for to
VO2
simulate.
max.
Yeah. And so I did that. And after that rage race, I told myself, if I want to finish that Boulder race, I need help. I need to
Mhm.
engage. I need to ask people around. I need to be proactive, right? So um and I started talking to Nancy again and say, oh, I need to do more swimming lessons with you in the lake
Mhm.
because it's kind of different. And I panicked and things like that. And then Coach Dax was said, oh, you need to do this. So it kind of taught me a lesson of, you know, if you need help or if you
Yeah.
don't know anything, there's people around you that can help. You know, you just have to ask them. So that's what I did.
That's wonderful. And you've asked some great people, and that's the wonderful thing about our community is we've got a lot of great expertise. And so now you're involved with Dax, and you've talked already with Nancy and Dev. I mean, these are some really knowledgeable people and help you along. Okay, so now I want to hear about Boulder 70.3. Walk us through that.
It's so I got this thing in my head that I wanna focus on just finishing the race.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I know I had the fitness, but I didn't have that confidence that I'll finish it like, really fast. And besides, it's my first 70.3.
Mhm.
Even if I cross the finish line a minute before the cutoff, it's
Yeah.
still okay
Yeah.
for me. So
Smart.
I accepted that fact.
Yeah.
And so when I got to Boulder, it's kind of different because when you get there, you can really feel the difference between, the altitude and
Yeah.
even walking
Yeah.
outside Boulder. You can feel it that it's kind of
Mhm.
different,
Mhm.
right? And and I was talking to Dax about the race, and he gave me a lot of pointers to handle it, and all the things that I learned from the shorter distances races, like that shoe thing, and that's
Yeah.
transition and things like that. And he said just practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so practice those things, and I went there, and I think I did a pretty good job on the things that they taught me.
Mhm.
Right. It was a bit colder back then,
Mhm.
August. But the other thing too is because I got my sleeveless ready,
Mhm.
and they allow you to do swim practice on the side. So I tried it. I said I'm not comfortable. If I'm gonna finish, I need to feel comfortable with
Mhm.
with what I'm wearing. So I
Are you
took it
saying you were not comfortable with the wetsuit on?
with the wetsuit on.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if it was sleeveless. And
Yeah.
so what I did was I took it off, gave it to my wife, and I said, I'm just gonna swim without wetsuit.
Oh my goodness, what was the water temp?
I think it was around 60,
It's a little cold.
Oh my goodness, good grief.
maybe 66. I don't know. It's something that I can tolerate.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so and I think back then, looking at or thinking back, I think I made the right choice. Although it was cold, but when a few yards, 100, 300 yards after you hit the water, I think I got warmed up, and did the whole thing. Finished the swim course. I think 43 minutes.
That's great.
How
Yeah,
fast?
that's impressive
40, did
without
you
a
say
wetsuit.
42?
43, yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
All right,
43.
so yeah, that was definitely the right choice, and I think that's really great for people to hear. Is you got to be comfortable, and if you're not comfortable, that's working against you. So I think that was a really smart decision. All right,
And
so now
also,
you're
I wanted to say that I had experienced the exact same thing. You're not alone with a real restrictive wetsuit that I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad other people needed to hear that. So
Yep.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yep, that is. Okay, so now you jump on the bike, and what was the bike like?
Bikes really, it's rolling,
Yeah.
right? It's rolling, but there are portions of the course that are, not flat, but it's okay. And I kind of did a pretty good job on the bike, but there's a but. I felt so comfortable with the bike that I pushed so hard,
Mm,
Yeah.
right? And I had a good pace on the bike. and I was so happy that I finished the bike. But when I started running, so yeah, I think I finished the course 3 hours 5 minutes,
Oh, that's fantastic.
3 hours 8 minutes, or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's a notorious hard course as well, with the altitude.
That's right.
When you did the run, I don't remember that year where your run was for that one, but what was the run like?
The run was hot, so it got too
Mhm.
hot.
Yeah.
That so the early part of the morning was okay, was cold, but during the run part, that got really hot. And
Yeah.
so I regret that I pushed really hard on the bike, because that take a toll on me on the run.
Yeah.
So I forgot there's the third people.
Well, that's okay. I mean, that's all experience, and I think you had the right mindset in going in and really getting to that finish line. So tell us about that finish line shoot.
Yeah, so the finish line uh was really good. I mean, I struggled a lot on the run, and one pointer that Dax told me is to carry a Ziploc.
Uh,
And he said, you go to an aid station, grab some ice, put it on a Ziploc, and put it in your tri-suit.
yeah.
So it helped me cool down,
Yeah.
right? And it really helped a lot. But I struggled on run, run, walk until I finish it. And then the feeling of, like, because it's, you see the course is that you can see the finish line, because, and then you go around,
Uh,
go around it to finish it. So I'm seeing them, they're all finishing up, and then I got fired up again, and I run the whole, I think, 400 meters
yeah.
to the finish line. And I made sure that the photographers looking at me, and I said, and then I did my
I
star
was
jump.
getting ready to ask you where you started the patented manner jump. It's like, is this the first time you did it at Boulder?
No, I've been doing this for quite some time,
Yeah.
mostly in run races.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
Very good. Yeah, that's fun.
they they
Well,
they call it this, my signature pose, finisher.
yeah.
Mhm.
I love it. Maynard, I really enjoy talking with you, and we've talked before, and can you believe it? We've already gone 30 minutes here. I mean, it's
Oh
really,
yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, what you have is just a real genuine interest in triathlon, and I can hear it and see it in the stories that you're telling, and I love that you have these big goals. Go do the Red Rock Loop, go, sign up for a 70.3, and yeah,
And don't know how to swim.
you would have had, I know you would have done Ironman California if it weren't for that bomb cyclone. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what you have down the horizon here, and I know you're targeting that Ironman. Thank you so much for talking with us tonight. This has really been a real pleasant and enjoyable
And,
conversation.
Yeah, thanks for
and
having me here.
one thing I want to point out before you wrap it up is, um, so a lot of people need to hear the fact that you went through you getting into the water and not doing real well and sticking with it. That's the definition of courage. You can't have courage if you're not afraid a little bit. If you can't have courage without fear, because courage is facing fear. And you actually had some issues and you worked through them,
Yeah.
which is, there's so much more respect that people, that I have for you because of what you worked through, instead of, it wasn't real easy for you. You know what I mean? So a very courageous way you got started. So that's big ups to you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
Mhm.
Yep, and it makes that finish line that much more special.
That's
And that's
right.
why I
More
love the
rewarding, isn't it?
celebration that you have when you do that. Maynard, thanks so much, and
Yeah,
have a
thanks for
good
doing
rest
this.
of the evening.
Thanks. Thank you, everyone.